In this video, we will show you how to use the new still image system for the RFD payload. The first thing you'll need to do is boot up the antenna tracker. Please note that the batch file that launches the antenna tracker may not work when you update your antenna tracker, as the location of the file may be different. So to make sure that that doesn't happen, you go to the location of the antenna tracker where all these files are, and then click on the location bar up here, right click and hit copy. That will copy the URL the location of this folder. And then you can go down here to tracker launcher, right click, open with Notepad or any other text editor, go to this first line here and paste in that location of the working directory you were just in. For me it's the same, so it won't actually look any different. You need to keep the CD, that means current directory. So after you've done that, hit file save, and you're done. So now double click that to open up the launcher. It'll bring you to here. So just like before, first thing you need to do is hit update settings. That will let the ground station know that the RFD is connected on COM10 and we're ready to go. So here is the still image tabs. All of the buttons work. Most recent image will get us the most recent image. A select image will let us see all the image the Pi has taken since the last being powered on. This is obviously the width and the height of the picture, sharpness, brightness, contrast, saturation. These settings here in the middle you probably don't really need to play with. The ones that make the biggest difference are obviously the size of the picture and the ISO at the bottom. The ISO is a sensitivity reading or a sensitivity setting for the Pi camera. When it is set close to 100, that means there is lots of light available and the picture will turn out looking rich and colorful. If there is little light, it's a very dark area, you can turn the ISO up. That will help the shutter speed and the picture to take correctly. I suggest, at least for the launch and the start of the flight, when the payload is out in the open sun, that you leave the ISO at 100. That is what it will default be set to when you power on the Pi. So if you click default settings, it will return all of the slider bars to their default value. Please note that this does not send the values to the Pi. So if you want to return them to default, click on default, then click send new settings, and the Pi will now have the new settings. We can view that by clicking get current settings. And you can see the default values are now stored. So if we want to change, we want the ISO to be 100, scroll over to 100 and hit send new settings. If you want to check it, you can click get current settings. There it goes. Sorry about that, I had a phone call come through and I think it may have interfered with the communication between my laptop and the Pi. But as you can see, the settings are updated. So if we click most recent image, you can see the picture coming through. It will start with 7,000 byte packet sizes, and it will continue to use that size unless a packet is dropped. If a packet is dropped, it will decrease the packet size by 1,000 bytes and continue to do so until the pictures are no longer being dropped. It will not drop below 1,000 bytes per packet size. If it drops 5 packets in a row at 1,000 bytes per packet size, it will cease transmission of the picture and error out. This was built in with this functionality, so please don't worry if this happens. So as you can see, with the ISO set to 100, the picture comes in pretty dark because ISO at 100 means there's lots of light. So we'll quickly change that to 800. We'll send to the new settings. We'll get the current settings to check it. Alright, as you can see, it's 800. So now we will use the select image tab. We can see that it's 410 roughly when the settings are updated. So when we click select image, it'll actually show you all the pictures, and this really handy feature on the right here tells you what settings these pictures were taken with. So as you can see, this last picture here was taken with the ISO set to 100. And we want that number to be 800, so we're just going to sit here and wait a minute. Now you can see that the most recent picture here at the bottom has the ISO of 800, so we'll go ahead and click on the JPEG. Please note that the images that are PNGs will not transfer, so please do not pick a PNG image. Something with the file extensions will cause the pictures to air out. So please, when requesting a specific image, please always check the JPEG image. So now we've picked the most recent image that's coming through. When it comes to the size of the picture, it should work with all sizes. However, please note, if you crank up the picture size to the maximum, it will take a long time for all of the bytes to transfer back and forth. I do not recommend retrieving pictures of this size. Staying near the default settings of 650 to 450 is recommended. Please note that when the Pi takes a picture, it also takes a copy at high resolution that you can retrieve afterwards. There's also a video to show you how to do that. So if you want the high resolution pictures, you can get them after the flight. You can also get them during the flight, like I said, but it may take a while. And while the Pi is transmitting images, it is not taking any new images. So if you request a bunch of big pictures, you won't have many pictures on your payload. So we'll just wait for this to come through, and you'll see how the camera ISO settings work. Please note that this one's at 800. And look, the picture is much, much brighter. So that concludes how the new still image test. Oh, I guess we can show you how the connection test button works. So if you click on connection test, it basically just pings the Pi and then tells you the response time below. The vertical flip and horizontal flip also work. So if you accidentally connected your camera wrong and your pictures are all coming in upside down, you can just click on vertical flip. A little text prompt will tell you that the camera was flipped, or you can do the same with vertical flip and it will do the same thing. And that's it. That is all there is to the new still image tab.